Millionaire finds his former maid sleeping on the sidewalk. Then does the unthinkable. She once cleaned his mansion, raised his kids, and treated him like her own son. Years later, he found her sleeping on a sidewalk, cold, hungry, and alone. What this millionaire did next shocked even the people watching from across the street. If this story touches your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to join our YouTube family. For more powerful true stories, it was a rainy Thursday evening in New York City. Daniel Carter, a 38-year-old tech millionaire, had just stepped out of a charity gala hosted at a luxury hotel downtown. Dressed in a sharp tuxedo, he checked his phone and walked toward his waiting black Mercedes. But just before stepping in, something unusual on the sidewalk caught his eye. A frail, elderly woman was huddled in a corner near a closed shop, wrapped in layers of dirty blankets, her face barely visible beneath a worn hood. Daniel paused. Something about the shape of her face, the curve of her jaw, tugged at something deep in his memory. He turned back to look again, his heart pounding slightly for a reason he didn't understand. Curiosity turned into concern, and concern turned into shock as he stepped closer. Rain dripped from the edges of his umbrella as he knelt down for a clearer view. The woman turned slightly, and that's when he saw it. Her eyes. It was Maria, his childhood maid, the woman who once held his hand when he scraped his knees, the woman who packed his school lunches, sewed buttons on his school uniform, and waited up when his parents didn't come home. She had once been a rock in his chaotic home, and now sleeping on the street. Daniel felt his heart pound like a drum inside his chest. The street noise seemed to fade as memories from his childhood came flooding back. Like an old movie reel, he remembered how Maria used to hum soft Spanish lullabies while dusting the furniture, how she lit candles and whispered prayers for his mom when she was sick, and how she held him tight the night she died. After his mother passed away, Maria never left. She worked harder. She became the emotional anchor in that cold, distant mansion. His father, always busy with business trips and board meetings, rarely noticed anything, but Maria always did. She saw when Daniel was hurting. She knew when he needed comfort, and she never once complained. Now, decades later, that same woman, his second mother, was lying on a sidewalk, looking thinner than he remembered, her hands shaking, and her lips chapped from the cold. She looked up, blinking slowly, confused and disoriented. Then her eyes locked with his. "Daniel?" she whispered, her voice dry and raspy. "Is it really you?" Daniel knelt down and held her hand gently. "Yes, Maria, it's me. I'm here." Now, without hesitating, he removed his expensive coat and wrapped it around her. Onlookers began to stop. Some pulled out their phones, recording the moment. But Daniel didn't care. He wasn't thinking about his image. He was thinking about the woman who gave him warmth when his world was cold, and how he had to give it back. Within minutes, Daniel called his driver and told him to bring the car round. The man was confused at first until he saw the frail woman Daniel was helping to her feet. Daniel held her like she was made of glass, whispering, "I've got you now." He gently helped Maria into the warm back seat of his luxury car, offered her bottled water, and told her she was safe. She looked out the tinted window at the pouring rain and began to cry. She kept apologizing. "I didn't want you to see me like this. I never wanted pity." Daniel shook his head, eyes filled with guilt. "Maria, you gave me a home when I didn't have one. You held me when my own father didn't. This is not pity, this is love." Instead of taking her to a shelter, Daniel told the driver to reroute to a 5-star hotel he often used for business guests. He booked the presidential suite on the top floor, arranged fresh clothes, warm food, and even called in a private nurse to check her health. Maria sat on the edge of the plush bed in silence, staring at the elegant room. She whispered, "This can't be for me." Daniel smiled. "It's just the beginning, Maria. I won't lose you again." In the following weeks, Daniel made Maria's well-being his top priority. He canceled meetings, postponed projects, and devoted his time to helping her heal physically and emotionally. She had suffered in silence for years. After losing her own daughter in a car accident and with no family left, she had been evicted from her small apartment after losing her job as a caregiver. No one came for her, no one helped, until now. Daniel set her up in a beautiful apartment near Central Park, with live-in support and regular checkups. But he didn't stop there. He hired a legal team to track down any forgotten pensions, social security, or government support she might be entitled to. And most importantly, he helped her reconnect with her late daughter's best friend, who had been searching for Maria too, thinking she had passed away. Daniel felt it wasn't enough to help just one person, so he took things further. He used his influence and money to launch the Maria Grace Foundation, named after her. Its mission? To help elderly homeless women, especially former domestic workers, get back on their feet with dignity, housing, medical care, and emotional support. When the media got wind of what he was doing, the story went viral. News channels, blogs, and social media platforms shared the headline, "Millionaire rescues former maid from streets, launches foundation in her name." But Daniel refused to take credit. "She saved me first," he said. "I'm just returning the favor." One bright Saturday morning, a beautiful crowd gathered outside a brand new community center on the east side of the city. Banners read, "The Maria Grace Foundation, a second chance for forgotten angels." There were reporters, community leaders, volunteers, and dozens of elderly women, former maids, caregivers, and workers who had lived invisible lives for decades. At the center of it all stood Maria, no longer the fragile woman Daniel had found on the street, but a graceful, dignified figure in a light blue dress. Her hair was done neatly, her posture strong, and her eyes shining with hope. Next to her stood Daniel, holding her hand proudly. As the ribbon was cut, applause rang out. Tears rolled down Maria's cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you, Daniel. I never thought I'd live to see a day like this." Daniel took the microphone and faced the crowd. Maria didn't just clean homes, she cleaned hearts. She gave her whole life to others, and like so many, she was forgotten. That ends today. He paused, then looked at Maria. "She didn't just raise me, she taught me how to love. This foundation is the least I can do for the woman who gave me everything." Maria spoke next, her voice soft but powerful. "You don't need to be rich to make a difference. You just need to remember the people who stood by you when no one else did. If we can help just one woman feel seen, loved, and safe, then all of this is worth it." The crowd stood in silence, moved. Some were wiping away tears. Others began to clap, slowly at first, then with full emotion. That day, something changed in the city. People began looking at the homeless differently, with more compassion, more curiosity, and more humanity. The people who build our lives, behind the scenes, the maids, the helpers, the caregivers, they deserve more than just thanks. They deserve dignity. Never forget the hands that once lifted you.